And we are live. Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite truck driver in the whole wide world. Ex-truck driver in the whole wide world. It's Bitcoin Ben at a secret, undisclosed location. Trying to actually take a little bit of vacation. Not really much of a vacation. It's every day I'll have a show and I'll do a little. So basically, I'll only work for about 8 hours a day instead of like 12 or 14 hours a day. So really taking a break. Okay, guys and gals, we're actually waiting on Patrick. Oh, there he is. Unless he's having camera difficulties. I think he is.
Yeah, let me drop off. Let me drop off. And
all right, well, Patrick's at another location. So it's basically, yeah, they let Patrick out of the nursing home. Yeah, I had to sign, a week pass. They let him out. And, all right, let's jump right in, guys. All right. From what I'm hearing from the Trump area is that Trump is working with others in the, let's just put it this way, Trump knows that the Bitcoin is the weapon to take out the deep state. Trump knows the only reason that the federal government has any authority at all or any power is the US dollar. And it is the nuclear weapon again. Oh, here he is. Hey, look at there. There's Patrick. You have to unmute yourself.
I had to revert to the old camera.
There we go. Now I can hear you, brother. Are you also in an undisclosed location?
No, I guess I'm part of the Amish protection plan.
Yes. Hey, if you ever want to hide amongst the Amish, unless you're overweight, then you're in trouble. Yes, they're gonna pick you out as a fake right away.
Yeah.
You never see any overweight Amish men.
No, and I am missing the facial hair. I'm going to work on that.
That's true. Well, you can rent one. You can get one that like hangs over your ear.
Yeah.
And it kind of brings it.
Right.
They're not really that bad looking once you get used to it. Yep. Actually, when I go and hang out with the Amish, my Amish name is Jehoshaphat. So yeah, we originally went with Jehoshaphat, but it didn't have like the ring of Jehoshaphat's.
Right. Right.
So like you and I were actually talking about earlier, uh, Wyoming
Wyoming.
is, yes, Wyoming is launching their own stable coin. Right. How do you feel about a state launching its own coin? Now, I've been saying this for years that Florida, Wyoming, California, they're all going to issue their own currencies because according to the Constitution, they can. It's the federal government is in charge of weights and measures. But as for currencies, the states can launch their own currencies. It's there's a legal way of doing it. Now, I think, well, I don't really think it. I know it's going to happen because of how we're structured. We are going way back to the trade structures prior to 1780. Right? We are going back to the Articles of Confederation currency structure, where New York will have its currency, which you'll have to purchase for taxation. And we are going through a fundamental shift, getting away from the US dollar. But not really getting away, and having different options. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I could pay my taxes with the US dollar, or I could pay it with the Wyoming buck.
Yeah. Well, in Wyoming, you'll actually pay your taxes for Wyoming in the Wyoming dollar. And what that's going to allow for is if the federal government gets stupid, like it usually does, then Wyoming will have its own currency that the people of Wyoming can just sell their US dollars in and replace them with Wyoming dollars. And that will allow them to not have the inflation irresponsibilities of the federal government. It's another way of having checks and balances on the on our Treasury Department. Basically, what are your do you see any flaws or any problems with Wyoming launching its own currency?
I don't. The only issues would come if in the structure of the blockchain that they're going to be using. I mean, they are going to have to make certain that it's protected from any efforts to steal control of the cryptocurrency. And what do they call that? When there's an attack in volume and it gets 51%, damn it. What?
Oh, a they basically call it a 51% attack. But
There's
that,
another term for it. Anyway, it doesn't. As long as there's not a capability for a Byzantine type of approach to take control of it and also avoid double spend,
yeah,
all those flaws and fallacies, that protection's in place, then the veracity of the cryptocurrency remains intact. And that's the key, I think, for them to implement that. Otherwise, you can't have a suspicious coin and expect people to put trust in it and use it as a means to pay taxes, as well as other intrastate commerce, because it would become the means for the state of Wyoming to do business. And they may actually contractually, through smart contracts, require other states to pass coins to them as a Wyoming buck.
yeah, yeah. Because I think how this is eventually gonna, because what we have happening is and I've been trying to explain this to people for years. We are going full decentralization, where America will have a tariff system. Florida will have a tariff system. It's if you want to sell products in Florida, but you're not a Florida company, you'll have to pay a tariff to Florida. It's what I've been saying the whole friggin' time is your net worth is your net worth. So since Florida, which the residents in Florida, that's their network. You know, those are the network of Floridians. And to have access to their network, you're going to have to use the currency of the network. And there's, think of all of the applications, right? Say that you get a traffic ticket. Well, you got to use the Florida dollar in order to pay for it. Not that I'm, advocating him getting out tickets, especially the way my wife drives. It's
She said she knew you were going to say that.
Fuck you.
Thank you, Emo.
Yep.
Elmo.
Elmo. Did you say emo?
I said Emo.
Happy birthday, old man.
The L was silent. The L was silent. Listen, they didn't have friggin' Sesame Street when I was a kid.
Yeah, hell, they didn't even have a radio when you were a kid.
No, we had dirt and sticks, and if we were lucky, they gave us water so we could make mud. That was what we played with.
You helped Moses, bring the tablets down.
Yeah, there were three. I dropped one. We have 15 commandments originally.
Yeah, there was 15, but thanks to Patrick, there's only 10.
I said it's too many.
Yeah. What's this no drinking alcohol shit? I'm going to drop this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
here's an interesting question being asked by Salty Prepper. What's backing a stable state coin?
the natural resources of the state and the energy grid, right? Everything is going to be priced in energy. That's the future of exactly like Trump says. Trump says the Bitcoin is the new oil. Well, what he means by that is we're leaving, or we've left, the actual petrodollar. Now we are into the era of the pure energy currencies, which is Bitcoin, which is stable digital currencies or fluctuating digital currencies, because we are going to have private currencies and we will have public currencies. Now, Wyoming will not actually be a public currency. That will be viewed as a private currency because Wyoming is a sovereign, or it will be recognized as a sovereign. So that's a private entity. Wyoming is a legal organization. It's like the LLC of Wyoming. That's what Wyoming is. And so Wyoming and its currency will be backed up not by the taxation of the Wyoming people. It will be actually backed up by the energy GDP. They'll probably call it something like the GEP, like gross energy production or something like that. And that energy, that Wyoming energy will actually be, now energy will be natural gas, electricity, ethanol, in like states like Illinois will have corn in a certain category of ethanol, and ethanol will be part of the commodity basket that actually backs up the Illinois dollar, because it will be how much energy Illinois produces will actually be how Illinois will be valued, because everything is going to the lowest form of production of the global society. What the world used to run off of oil, well, that's changing now. We're running off of pure energy, which means like nuclear, solar, wind, water, and when I say water, I mean what do you call, like dams and shit like that.
Oh, hydroelectric.
Yes, hydroelectric. And, Now, mind you, there are other factors that are going to roll out against that. And, because there are new inventions. Well, they're not really new. That's what's sad. They're actually older technologies that you can generate energy like endless in Tesla, basically. There's a lot of Tesla technology that homeowners can actually build themselves. There are actually kits online that you can purchase, and you can run self-generating energy at your home. And that doesn't even include some of the local nuclear options that are rolling out, where you'll have a little nuclear power plant at your house. And it's basically the size of a Weber, like, gas grill. And it will actually power your house for, hell, like 15 or 20 years. Yes, I completely agree. Nuclear is going to actually make a massive comeback in the United States. It's the safest way to produce energy. It has been suppressed for many years. Exactly. And we have another one here that says, Bruce, damn, how many Bruces you got, Bruce? He says, so it sounds like every state will have a digital currency. Yes, just like we had prior to the Republic, America was a confederacy. Right? The Articles of Confederacy. Now, they never taught you that in high school because it didn't work. The only reason it didn't work was the currencies. Because the flaw was you couldn't have a large nation run on the Articles of Confederation and have each of the currencies equally valued, actually based on the GDP of each of these states. Because the further you got away from New York, the less the New York currency was worth, because it took more energy to get to New York in order to exchange the currency for like gold or silver or like something like that. So it was the restrictions of the currency that led the founding fathers to say, okay, this ain't gonna work. We need a federal ledger. See, that's what the federal government was initially, just a ledger. And so they knew they had to have a federal government, so they had a federal ledger. And that's why they wrote the Federalist Papers. If you read the Federalist Papers, it actually describes that, hey, we have to, because they didn't want a federal government. All of them were anti-federal government. They didn't want a centralized government. They wanted a centralized ledger. They wanted a decentralized blockchain ledger. But technologically, they couldn't do it digitally because there wasn't any knowledge of digital, how there wasn't even knowledge of analog, back then. Well, electric analog. So they had to create a federalist system. They didn't want to. Well, now what Trump knows and what all of the intellectuals in the Republican Party know is that we now have a replacement for the federal ledger. It's called blockchain. And now what they can do, hear me out on this. This is going to sound really crazy, but this is what's going to roll out. The federal government is going to be structured into a app, right? And each one of Florida will run a federalist app. California will run a federalist node, basically, right? And that each one of the nodes will verify the information inside of the node. And if all of the nodes agree on the transaction or the vote of the nodes, then it will go into the federal ledger, the federal blockchain. And that's how you get rid of the federal government, is you replace it with a federal, basically a federal blockchain. And each Illinois, Missouri, Florida will run the software of the federal government, just like Bitcoin. Code is law. Well, how do you make the states follow the Constitution? You take it out of the hands of the people and you put it into the language of the nodes. The code is the law. So then any transaction that doesn't align with the agreed upon federal constitution or the federal software is rejected by the nodes of Illinois, Florida, Texas. They reject it and it's not put into the transaction block of the federal government blockchain. And that's where this is all going to. Florida will have a Florida blockchain. Wyoming just launched the Wyoming blockchain. They're all just ledgers of transactions and validations. And how will this reward the inhabitants of Wyoming? The people who live in Wyoming will be able to run a micro node and help generate the currency at home. This is part of the micro node structure that I've been trying to tell people. If you live in Florida, you can run a micro node of the Florida currency, and you can earn Florida currency by running the Florida master node structure, which will actually be micro node because they won't use the SHA-256 protocol. They'll use probably something more like Litecoin, which requires a lot less energy, and it's a faster transaction. They probably won't put in segregated witness technology. They might put in like Mimblewimble-like technology. Like Texas would probably do that. Florida would probably do that because then you can switch on a privacy factor on the actual currency. As Florida and Texas, you'll have an option of a private transaction or a public transaction. Because Florida and Texas want to keep the capabilities of having a digital dollar, but yet have the privacy of a physical dollar. That's why I keep on telling people, folks, get a crypto-only laptop. Right? And this is what's amazing, folks. This is what's going to blow your freaking mind. I live in Florida, right? And this is what's going to moderate the inflation rate of the state's currencies. Is I live in Florida. Well, I will be able to run a Wyoming node because it will be an open source node structure. People over in Afghanistan will be able to run a Wyoming node. And what that's going to do is that's actually going to make the currency of Wyoming have to offer a return like a bond would, right? And there will be a battle for who has the most attractive node reward. So Wyoming will actually be in competition with Florida, just like their bonds, except their bonds won't be bonds. Their bonds will be their currency. It will be their node structure. That's why I keep on telling people, get a crypto-only laptop because it's going to be your employee. You can run all of these micro nodes. You can run Hawaii's micro node. You can run California's if you want to. Theirs will probably be represented by a rainbow. Hell, they may even call it the rainbow dollar. And so that's how you'll be and just like in cryptos now, the Florida dollar will have an exchange rate against the Wyoming dollar. And there will be people that will make money just trading Wyoming for Texas or Texas for Florida or this and that and this and that and this and that. And with the smart contract technology, think about this, folks. Think about this all the way through. With the smart contract technology, they can create a smart contract that every taxable dollar that is paid in is then instantly distributed to the public works area that get a certain percentage of that tax money. So let's say that Florida generates $100 million worth of taxes, and the schools are voted to receive 10% of that. As soon as a dollar is paid in taxes, 1/100th of that dollar goes into the education wallet of Florida. You see what I'm saying? And what that is it actually takes out the flaws of humanity.
So they're not going to be able to play the shell game that they play with the lottery dollars.
Yeah,
education that get moved back into the general fund.
Exactly. It actually keeps all of the governments honest. And this is the true tokenization of, now mind you, this is not going to happen overnight. This will evolve over probably 15 years. But since you guys watching right now, you're early adopters, guys. You're early adopters. That's why CALIX Solutions is such a revolutionary company. Do you hear any other laptop company saying, hey, we have created a specific laptop that as blockchain evolves, you'll be able to make money off your laptop? No. You know why? Because 90% of the dumbasses don't know it's coming. The other 10 are already thinking about it, but they're trying to capture the control of the system. That's why all of these laptops are integrating AI. You've seen it. You've seen all of these like new AI laptops. Yeah, AI means your ass is in trouble. is AI is just how they're implementing it on these laptops is AI, artificial intelligence, is removing the control of the laptop from you to the AI through convenience, of course. AI will make your laptop so much more convenient. Just grant the AI authority, which you don't have to grant it, it's already programmed into the friggin' laptop. All right, hang on, word from the sponsor. Patrick, would you keep interrupting me?
I can't help myself.
Guys, gals, get a freaking laptop.
Are you buying and selling cryptos on the same laptop that you're using to browse the internet, read your email, and visit social media sites? If so, you're exposing your cryptos to theft. Whenever you're online, you're at risk of getting hacked and having your identity stolen. How would you feel if someone stole all of your cryptos? What would that do to your finances? Guard your cryptos with a safe and secure laptop from CALIX Solutions. Each laptop is set up just for you and your cryptos, and then we walk you through exactly how it works. Don't risk the security of your cryptos. Order a crypto laptop from CALIX Solutions now to secure your crypto future. Learn more at calixsolutions.io.
All right, we are back. Yes. Micronodes. Yeah. And yes, they will be stable coins, right? But they will have a transaction fee. Even the stable coins have a transaction fee. It's a fraction of a cent. Right? Oh my God, someone stole Patrick. Oh, there he is. Okay.
I had to change the position of the laptop because it was bouncing around on my lap, and I know people needed Dramamine before.
When you say laptop, do you mean depends?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. I didn't know if that was code. I know we had to sign.
No, I'm still good there. I'm still good.
We had to sign Patrick out of the retirement home, so I'm legally responsible for him while he's in my custody.
And that's scary, isn't it?
I'm setting him loose.
You're not even legally responsible for yourself, let alone anybody else.
That's why our wives are here.
That does.
So they can bail us out.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yours might bail you out. Kelly might leave me in there so I think about what I did.
To teach you a lesson?
Yeah. Now you sit in there and you think about what you did. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you. Don't drop the soap.
Even better. Yeah.
All right. So now that I basically rambled, everything I've said, is there anything I've said that you think isn't eventually going to happen?
No, it makes a ton of sense. I think we've talked about this before, and that in a decentralized fashion, all cryptocurrencies that I think are going to be successful will have to be decentralized. I do give an exception to XRP in that it's being used as a replacement vehicle for Swift at some point. And it's the trade-off between having somebody else control the blockchain and the cryptocurrency, and making sure that transfers of wealth occur and settlement occurs in nanoseconds as opposed to 24, 36 hours. It's a trade-off that takes place there. But in all other instances, the decentralization of cryptocurrency is, I think, required for success. And that's what this affords. If I'm backing it with energy, if I'm backing it with the rare minerals in my state, I could be backing it with any number of things. They could also be playing the game through their Secretary of States in a finance mode, playing international markets. That's certainly a possibility. They do it with retirement funds all the time, pensions. So this isn't unlike that. And it depends on where, a lot of it depends on where their risk appetite lies. And I'm sure that in most instances, they're going to be looking for 3-4% return on things, but there may be some marginals that say, I want to go 10% profit on this and portion of their portfolio. So anyway, that aside, that's irrelevant for this topic, but decentralization, the utilization of blockchain and cryptocurrencies that are stable coins to be used for revenue protection and generation on a statewide basis makes a ton of sense. Could it also happen on a county-wide basis? Yeah, it could. It could. I know the city of Miami was looking to do that, to run micronodes. Philadelphia was doing the same thing, but they got caught with shitty coders.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, their coders screwed them 6 ways to Sunday, and those things unfortunately died on the vine. But, you know,
and let me explain how the structure of the actual backing of the coin will go. A majority of the weighted backing of the coin will be the energy used to actually mine the Bitcoin, because the electric company will actually mine Bitcoin, and then they could actually mine Bitcoin and also mine the currency or run a node for the Arizona coin. If let's say Texas, all of the actual power plants in Texas, let's say they use a blockchain that is capable of actually being mined using the same mining equipment that they mine Bitcoin on. So then they could allocate 20% of the excess energy would mine Texas coin, while 70% or 75% of the excess energy would mine Bitcoin. And what that would do would replace the actual taxation of the labor of the people. So then all of a sudden, every single place is Florida, where you don't have an income tax. Voila. You you just actually made all of the people free of a state income tax. So they're no longer slaves to the state. And if you get rid of the federal income tax using a federal micro node structure, and Texas is also mining the treasury dollar of the federal node system, then voila, you get rid of federal income taxes.
And that would be great. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people leaving claw marks in the asphalt over that one.
Oh, not really, because the Federal Reserve System and the IRS, that's who Trump is going after.
And that would be outstanding.
Yeah.
My point is there's going to be a hell of a fight.
Oh, absolutely. But it's not going to be a fight they can win, because they're going to lose usage of their old dollar, and no one's accepting a federal CD central bank digital currency. Florida's already said fuck you. Texas has already said fuck you. And so this isn't if it happens, it's when it happens. And the US dollar, the Federal Reserve note is gonna just get wiped out. It's gonna hyperinflate away. That's why BlackRock and all of these banks are buying Bitcoin, because the first transition will be off of the Federal Reserve dollar onto the Bitcoin. And then Wyoming, Texas, all of these will launch their own dollars that will be backed up by Bitcoin. And this is going to roll out over the next probably 10 years, but it's going to be a process.
I just see the vestiges of the old system screaming bloody murder as they get moved towards the door. And by that, I mean the NGOs, all of the folks that are part of the lobbyist movement, anybody that's benefiting from grants that come out of the federal government, social services programs, etc. It's just it's an entanglement that is going to take a considerable amount of time and effort to divest ourselves of.
Oh yeah, and a lot of our social programs will actually be recapitalized using Bitcoin. So if you actually take the structure of Social Security and you integrate and you flip from a currency that loses value into a currency that gains value, then Social Security works, because then what you contribute in Social Security every year would actually gain value as you age. So it's the opposite of what we have now. And that structure would work. And people will have the option to join the federal ledger node option of retirement, where then the Social Security system would then have to actually have its own node, or maybe Social Security is actually backed up by Bitcoin and accepts because your wallet, you'll actually be able to stake your Texas dollar in the wallet of Social Security, and you'll actually, but they'll have to have a rewards structure in Social Security, which is why Social Security will probably eventually just disappear, because they won't be able to compete with the attractive rates of other currencies. So basically, what I'm trying to say is we are replacing the current global bond structure with a tokenized, decentralized cryptocurrency structure. So if you have a city that wants to sell a bond, they're not going to sell a bond. What they're going to do is they're going to launch a Bridges coin. And if you drive on that road, you'll have a toll. And it will be a fraction of a fraction of a, like, we'll get rid of gas tax because your car will have a wallet on it. And it will track exactly how many miles you drove on that road. And then it will charge your wallet that amount. And your vehicle's wallet will pay that amount.
Here's the scary thing. They'd also be able to have GPS and determine whether or not you've been speeding and issue you a ticket. So
yeah, well, then most of my money's going to go to tickets. Fuck you.
I know that they've done that in the state of Pennsylvania on the toll road. There have been people, they look at the ticket the way that they used to do it was that you would get issued a ticket at point A and you exit at point B, and they could do a quick calculation to determine what your speed was. And in some instances, they gave you a receipt and a ticket. Now, they don't do that anymore because they're using the iPass system, but theoretically, they could do the same thing.
Absolutely. Now, remember.
It's a red light camera kind of scenario because they have to prove that you were driving as opposed to your kid.
Well, it's
I'm rabbit holing here. I would just
no. But also remember, tokenization creates the ultimate environment of actual competition. So Florida will be in competition for human attention, which in their case would be human residency. So if Florida says, hey, on our fuel coin or our Florida coin, we don't have a speed tracking,
Right.
part of it. And that will attract people that go, oh, okay, so I can actually drive half, how I want. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be an
Right.
officer watching, but everything will be who's the freest. And we see that happening now. People will have more incentive to actually move to Florida. Then Texas will go, well, yeah, we don't have that either. Okay, well, then I'll go to Texas. Well, here in Texas, if you move to Texas, then we and we issue your Texas, or you download our Texas wallet, then your wallet isn't taxed for the first year. Oh, that sounds attractive. Well, Florida's like, oh shit. All right, well, we won't tax you for the first 14 months. Because capitalism is naturally deflationary. It's a competition of lowest price. And once you implement tokenization into this structure, it's then a competition of freedom. Who's more free? Whose transaction fees lowest? Whose reward fee is highest? So it literally is a system of positive rewards to the individuals. That's why I've said we're moving into the economy of human attention. That means everyone's going to be competing with favorable systems that you like. So every individual will be valued. Because every individual will have attention. And attention will be the asset, or residency will be the asset of the states. Entertainment, the human attention, will be the asset of entertainment. And every single one of us will live in a decentralized, pro-individual economy. It's a complete opposite of what we have now. Oh, yeah. All right, we're over an hour, guys. Yeah, I know Patrick just wouldn't shut up. I've been trying to get off here for the whole damn time. So Patrick, number one, let everyone know where they can get their crypto employee laptop.
CALIX Solutions at calixsolutions.io. You can text us 702-845-8276. You can email us info@calixsolutions.io.
Awesome.
There's one thing I wanted to pass along. There was two people have mentioned this. There's a website out there, and I don't have this verified that this site is responsible for this. But I've heard a couple people say that they're being convinced that they need to trade with a particular website, and they'll go out and they'll give them $1,000 and these guys will trade on their behalf. And then they'll be told later on, well, to get that 1,000, you're going to have to put in another $3,000. And it's just this, they're just reeling you in, man. They're just taking your money. If you don't control the coins, it's not your money. Don't let anybody trade for you. Do your research, due diligence, know what you should be investing in from a crypto perspective. Worst case scenario, go to an ETF. Get an ETF through a brokerage firm. You can find the symbols on any of the brokerage firms. You can go to BlackRock, any of these outfits, and if that's the only way that you can get in, that's the only way you can get in. But you'll be able to get those dollars out. These guys are having you pay money to them, and then they want you to pay more money in order to get out. So just stay away from those things.
Yeah, and soon on our club's website, we're actually going to offer a trading option for people, so they can actually have a place where they can go, and if they want to allocate a certain little bit of money for like some higher risk, coins, they'll have a place that they can do that on our website, because I didn't want to create this, but exactly what you've said is the reason why, because people want it, but there isn't really many places out there that are honest, that are going to offer something like that. And I'm working with a few people to have that on our club websites for our club members. It's in
you have to be a member. You have to be a member of a club in order to participate in this.
Yeah.
And use the private account.
Right? Yep. All right. Patrick and I will be back at noon over at the CALIX Cyber Stuff show. We don't really have much prepared, but I'm sure there's much we can talk about.
Oh, yeah.
He never shuts up. So he'll just ramble on, and I'll just let him go like I usually do. So, all right, guys and gals, we're out. Patrick, let them know how they can join us on our show in about an hour.
Sure. You're going to have to be a client, either the crypto laptop or the Liberty laptop. You would go into the portal, and within the portal, you're going to look for CALIX Cyber Suite. In there, you can sign up for the subscription for either cyber stuff or the helpline. Sign up there, and you'll get access to the show live and then archived. And then if you do the helpline, you'll have access through a live chat to ask us questions. Anything that's burning your curiosity, you need help on. You need to know how to get your VPN operating correctly, etc. That's one of the ways that you'll end up getting that resolved. So anyway, that's on our website. Go take a look, sign up, and you can also exit from that subscription at any time. So it's not something that you're locked into.
Yep. And if you have any questions for club ownership or club membership, please give us a call, 941-391-3882. Everyone, have a great day. We'll see some of you in about an hour. Patrick, I'll see you when I see you.
Yep. Adios. Thanks for watching.